Alright, hey, what's up? We're back for we're gonna be doing a review on UFC on Fox 27, a recap, and it wasn't the best Fox card. I actually thought it was one of the worst Fox cards in recent UFC history. To be honest with you, I mean it was a very weak undercard, especially the preliminary fights. A lot of them were very weak, and like I said, I think this was one of the worst UFC on Fox cards, but. I had some entertaining fights on there nonetheless, things like that. But we got we went 7-4 on our picks, and I actually think we should have done quite a bit better. I thought the judging was just terrible last night. I mean, a lot of terrible, horrible decisions. I mean, how could you give that fight to Kim over Justine Kish, man? That was one of the worst robberies of the last couple years. That was like a Diego Sanchez robbery, man. And then I thought Bermudez won that fight pretty clearly. I don't know how you give the rounds to Andre Fili just for getting takedowns, doing nothing with the takedowns. Bermudez would get right back up, and he was winning the stand-up portion of the fight. So to give Fili that fight as well, I thought was just absolutely ridiculous, especially after the way that they've been judging the fights all night, where they were acting like takedowns didn't count whatsoever, and then you're gonna give a guy a win off of purely just getting takedowns. It was a little bit ridiculous, but they haven't been in North Carolina very often. Maybe they have inexperienced commission. Really am not sure, but it was just a disgrace, man. It was really terrible to see a lot of those just horrendous decisions. They had another one where someone gave Drew Dober a 30-27 against Frank Camacho. And I actually gave that fight to Frank Camacho. I mean, but for someone to give the first round to Drew Dober in that fight is just ridiculous, man. I mean, there's no way anyone can give that first round to Drew Dober. And I could say Drew Dober won that fight, but I mean, for someone to give him all 3 rounds was just ridiculous once again. But for the most confident pick, it was Nico Price, and we're gonna be moving on to 3 for 3 with that one. That was actually a pretty interesting fight. George Sullivan had his moments for sure. He had Nico Price on bottom where he's his best. His best part of his game is his ground and pound. He's actually pretty dangerous with it. And Nico was letting him, posture up and hit him with some shots. I actually heard Nico say in the post fight that he was laughing because he thought the shots didn't hurt him that much. But you can't really be doing that in a real fight. He let Sullivan cut him, let Sullivan get some big ground and pound off, and that first round, 2 of the 3 judges had that first round to George Sullivan. Just crazy too. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. But then in that second round, Sullivan started to get pieced up on the feet. Then he sweeped him, took him down. And Sullivan was going for a Kimura in the guard, but left his back open, and then Price left no time. He secured the back mount, and Sullivan was leaving his neck exposed, and then that's all Price needed. He went in with the right hand, got the rear naked choke second round, and Sullivan tapped really quick. George Sullivan definitely seemed like he was in there for a paycheck. He did come in there and fought hard, but you could just tell in his mannerisms that seemed like once he was starting to get pushed, once he started to feel that, okay, things aren't going my way, he really gave up pretty easily. But and then for the parlay of the week, we got that one incorrect. I'm sorry, guys. I should never have told you guys to bet on Mara Romero Barella. I really thought that her ground game was much better than that. But once again, man, I gave that fight to Barella. I thought Barella won that fight. I thought she won the first 2 rounds. It was a close fight. Caitlin Chukagian, if she was fighting the air, it would have been fucking 10-7, but she wasn't fighting the air, she was fighting someone else, and it made it just such a boring fight. It was like a cardio kickboxing match, man. I was about to fall asleep watching that, but that was the one that we got wrong for our parlay of the week. They gave it to Chukagian, unanimous decision, but that first round definitely was the first round for Barella. Barella landed a few leg kicks. She was able to counter the jab of Chukagian, and she kind of took over at the very end, and so I think that she definitely took that first round. The second round was a round where nothing really happened. Chookagian was just circling, punching long punches, low kicks, and not landing anything or getting any damage off. And Barella was maintaining the center, you know, trying to land, but she couldn't land either. She couldn't cut Chookagian off. So it was just, looked like hard sparring or something. It was just really boring. But, the judges didn't go our way on that one, so we lost our first parlay of the week, but we're still 2 for 3 on that, and we're gonna hope to bounce back next week on that. But let's start to go over the actual card, fight by fight here. And Corey Sandhagen defeated Austin Arnett, and a pretty interesting fight. Corey Sandhagen and Austin Arnett both came in short notice for this, about a week. But Sandhagen had just fought a week prior at LFA, and he looked great, man. He came in with really good angles, really good boxing. He was mixing up strikes to the body and the head. A lot of variety on his punches, threw a lot of spinning kicks. And he was actually able to take Arnett down too, and then he started dropping some really nice right hands. And, he was able to have some good defense as well. And he showed that he could be someone that's probably a contender pretty soon. He would chop at both legs. He would have, pretty good initial clinch control, and he was able to stand and elbow on the clinch, able to do some things like that. And, Arnett was able to, try to get on his back, things like that. And Sandhagen was able to, reverse, shake him off, get out the back door, and then, when he got on top of Arnett, he was able to posture up, and he split him with a big elbow, man, cut him open, and, he started to land like a spinning back fist, if I can remember correctly, and then he landed a really nice left hand to the liver, and then landed a lot of knees to the liver, and, Arnett was battling, man. Arnett was, trying not to go down, but then he hit him to the gut again, and, you could just see that was it, man. He really hurt him with, some nice knees, and Arnett dropped, and, landed a few follow-up punches on the ground, and that was it, man. And Corey Sandhagen got his first win in the UFC in his first appearance, and he'll move to 1-0. Arnett's 0-1, and Arnett also did have a loss on the Dana White Contender Series, so who knows if he's going to stick around, but maybe he'll get another opportunity to show off his skills. He does seem like, he's a solid fighter all around, maybe a little bit well-rounded, but he just doesn't have that, explosiveness. He doesn't have that next level athleticism, I think, to maybe compete at this level. But then we moved on to Vince Pichel against Jacare Souza. And, this was a very interesting, very fun fight. That first round, Silva was circling backwards a lot, going towards the fence. And, Pichel was the one that was going forward, trying to land his right hand, trying to control the center of the cage. And Pichel has landed a lot of good leg kicks on him in that first round. And but he was short on his punches a lot. Silva was able to not let Pichel get in his range. And Silva was able to, lean back, land some body kicks off some counters. But Silva was also struggling to find his range as well. He wasn't really landing much. And towards the end of the round, though, he did start to push forward. He started pushing Pichel back. He landed a nice high kick. It was kind of glancing, though. And, he started to control Pichel against the cage a little bit. And, that was kind of the end of the round. But that first round I gave to Vince Pichel, I thought he won that round pretty clearly. Thought that was one of the most clear rounds of the fight there. And, that was kind of one of the rounds, though, that if you're going to say that you thought that Silva won, maybe you would give him that first round. But then round 2 was a clear round for Vince Pichel, man. But round 2, Pichel took the center of the cage and started throwing his leg kicks again, started pressuring Silva to the outside. And Silva was evasive, man. He still was very good at, not letting Pichel get a read on him, not letting him get a rhythm. And Pichel was trying to chase him down and, landing a few good leg kicks, inside and outside leg kicks. And, he landed a high outside leg kick and then was clinching, driving knees into Silva's body, landed a jab, and exploded forward with a big uppercut to end the round. And it was the best punch of the round, and it was right before the end of the round, and I thought that really solidified that round for Vince Pichel. Clear round for Vince Pichel, if you ask me. And then Round three, Silva was the one that took the center, and he was the one that was actually attacking hard. I think that maybe his corner told him, hey, man, you got to get out there, get after it. And then Pichel actually threw a big right head kick and, almost landed it. But he was getting backed up against the fence, and, Silva was able to try to, clinch up with him and threw a body kick. And then, Pichot was able to catch that body kick, take Neto BJJ to the ground. But Neto's fucking stand-ups, man, the way that he was able to get up in like a few seconds was very elite, and he was able to do that a lot. Just get up very fast, and he was able to keep that pressure, land overhand right, and he was really pushing Pichot back, landed some knees to the body, and just coming forward, just really putting a lot of pressure on Pichot. He landed a nice uppercut right hook combo, and landed a right cross. Pichot started to get rocked a little bit, so he went for another takedown, landed it, but once again, Silva just right back up to the feet, and at the very end of the fight, Pichot was actually able to land some hard knees and some hard punches and kind of run forward to get a nice little flurry before the end of the round. But that was the clearest jump for Joaquim Silva. And due to that, I thought Joaquim Silva won that round, and Vince Pichel won the fight 29-28. I agreed with the judges on that one, and I gave it to Vince Pichel. So that was a fun fight, though. Both those guys are borderline top 15 guys, and Vince Pichel was really starting to call out some high-level opponents. He called out Ali Quinta, fight that I would, enjoy. He called out Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez. Really wants to get one of those more high-profile guys in the cage with him. So we'll see what happens next for Vince Pichel. And for Joaquim Silva, he's someone that's still to keep your eye on, man. Really good Muay Thai, really good takedown defense. He's a problem, good jiu-jitsu as well, so I think he'll definitely be back. But up next, we're moving on, and this was just, like I said earlier, man, just a horrible robbery. Kish, I thought, was really dominant in that fight. I thought that first round, she was the one keeping the center. She was the one flicking out long jabs, hard low kicks, and, she was getting aggressive, charging in the pocket. Trying to land some high kicks, trying to land some punches and not get hit. I really thought that her in and out movement was a little bit better than was in her other fights, but she still struggled to find the range a little bit. Kim is tall, 8-inch reach advantage, and was landing some 1-2s, crisscross right hands, but I thought that was a clear round for Jussie Kish, round one. I mean, was 3-1 on volume and was the one pushing the pace, man. And then round two, Kish continued to pressure, was the one keeping the center of the cage, and Kim was the one moving backwards with her movement. And Kish tried to clinch up, and I was actually surprised to see the major strength advantage for Kim. Kim kind of shook her off, went back to the center, and I thought that Kish was going to be able to, maybe be a little bit more dominant in the grappling techniques, maybe able to hold her opponent more, because Pudileva was very successful with that. But, Kish was landing some right hands, some low kicks, and Kim was just trying to, stay in the center and land some 1-2 straight punches. And Kish went to the body with some kicks. And I thought that Kish landed some big right hands to end the fight, or the end of the round with some, some pop on him. And, I thought she found a lot more success in that round. It was even clearer round than the first round, and she won that round very clearly. She was up 20-18 in my opinion. And then round three, round three was a close round. Kish threw some weird kicks in that round, and Kim was just moving forward with a lot of confidence. I think her corner told her, hey man, you got to get going, you got to finish this fight. So she was walking forward and really very aggressive and putting Kish on her back foot, making Kish eat some right hooks, some left hooks, and really blooding her up. You know what I mean? She bloodied her nose up. Landed some strong, clean combinations, and, Kish was starting to come up short in her punches, and, Kish did land a big body kick, and, she started kind of going and pushing in the very end of the fight, but at the very end of the fight, she was fighting off her back foot, and, Kim was getting close, but she wasn't inflicting a lot of damage, she was hitting her. She was hitting her with the jabs, things like that, but they weren't damaging shots. And that third round I did give to Kim, but that was the closest round to the fight, and the fact that someone did 30-27 for Ji Young Kim is absolutely ridiculous, man. Like, when I heard that scorecard, I was thinking, all right, cool, Kish won, when I heard the 30-27. But wow, when they gave that to Ji Young Kim, that was just a terrible decision, man. I can't stress that enough, just terrible. Just Team Kish won that fight. And while both these girls, I don't think are the highest level, I actually thought Justine Kish would show a little bit better performance than she did. She was under a lot of stress with her mother, battling cancer, things like that. So got to feel for her on this one that she got the loss, because she definitely deserved to win. And Jian came in, I don't know, but tough loss for Justine Kish. And then we moved on, another women's fight with Randa Marcos versus Juliana Lima. And this is a fight where Randa was just able to dominate with her grappling, like I thought. She was able to take down Juliana Lima, control her against the cage, and she looked good, man. She landed some big ground and pound, was able to get the mount and really unload. A lot of her other fights, she would get top position and not be able to do a lot of damage. In this fight, she was able to posture up, do a lot of damage, and really, make it decisive on the scorecard, not make it close. She won that extremely easily, and she showed it, and Randa actually admitted to coming in with a torn MCL and I think another injury as well that I can't remember, but that's very impressive that she was able to fight through that, get the victory, and she called for a top 5 or a title shot, which is a little bit ridiculous due to her winning and losing one, but she has fought some and defeated some very high-level competition in the UFC. She beat Tisha Torres, she's beaten Felice, she's beaten Carla Esparza, and now Juliana Lima. So that's, 4 pretty solid names that she's defeated, man. And she's fought with a lot of the big-time girls, big names. And maybe it's time to give her another, solid name. I wouldn't mind seeing her get in there with a, top 10 opponent either. So Randa's someone to keep your eye on. And for Juliana Lima, that's 2 losses in a row now for Lima. She's lost 3 out of 4. And gotta wonder where she is in her career, man. She's 35. Have to wonder if the UFC is going to keep her around. Who knows? If they do, I think she'll stay around. She could still beat the lower level girls. She's still athletic and well-rounded, and that's enough in WMMA to, steal some wins, but I don't think that she'll ever have title aspirations, anything like that. And I think that her, it's proven that she's not a top 10 person. Every time she's, moved up, trying to fight that higher level of competition, she's taken that L. She's lost to Carla, lost to Tisha, lost to Joanna, and now lost to Randa. So those are 4 shots to get into the top 10 or into the rankings. And, she's failed to do that in every single fight. So, Juliana, like I said, maybe she'll get another fight. Maybe she'll just retire. But she did have a good career in the UFC. She beat some pretty big-name girls. She beat J.J. Aldridge, beat Nina Ansaroff. She has a career to be proud of. But up next, we had probably the most boring fight of the night. Kayla Chukagi against Barbara Barella. And I already kind of told you about this fight. I thought that, Barella won that first round clearly, and I gave her the second round. The third round, was also a round where you could possibly give her the round just due to her getting the takedown. And just because, Chukagin wasn't doing anything, man. Circling and punching at the air should not get you points. And it seemed like the refs or the judges really liked that game plan in that fight, and they gave her a clear decision, 30-27, unanimous. And I don't know, man. I thought Barella won that fight. I know some people are probably going to agree with or disagree with me on that, but I just don't really give a lot of credence to someone that's, moving backwards the entire time and just punching at the air. That's just infuriating to watch, for one. And for two, I just think that that's just showing a lack of cage control and a lack of, just trying to go for it, and I don't think that someone should be rewarded for that. I think Barella, the one moving forward, controlling the center of the cage, actually getting takedowns, and, making I mean, the striking wasn't exactly one-sided. The first umbrella won the striking. So, that's my take on that one. But we're going to move on, to Mirsad Bektic versus Godofredo Pepe. And, Mirsad kind of repositioned himself as a very high-level prospect. Pepe was someone that was dangerous, came in there with the ability to, one-shot KO Bektic or catch him in a submission, but everyone knew that if he was going to do that, it would have had to be, like I said, him catching him with it, flash KO, a very, submission out of nowhere type thing. And Bektic did definitely have the advantage. And, Bektic was just able to really show a striking to this one. He was able to keep Pepe moving backwards, and he blasted him with a really beautiful uppercut, to start the fight, and then landed an overhead right, and you could tell it got Bektic's attention right away, because he started to stick to the outside and really try to just move backwards, and Bektic moved Pepe up to the back of the fence, and he kind of faked a shot, threw a knee, and then threw a big right hand to the body, and you could just see Godofredo like, oh fuck, like that really hurt him. And wasn't even a shot to the liver, man. It was a right hook to the freaking solar plexus right there. Boom, huge shot, and just dropped him. Bektic, 12-1 now, really looks really devastated. That performance against Godofredo Pepe. So it's clear that he's a top 15 guy. You need to start giving him top 10, top 15 guys, because he's running right through the guys that are fringe on the top 20, top 30. And that was an extremely impressive performance, and Brunson gets to move on up, like I said, get a top 10 guy. And for Pepe, man, this is 2 losses, 3 out of 4 for Pepe. And I think they're going to keep him around. He's a very fun guy to watch. Still young, but I think they need to give him good matchups. When he fights guys that are maybe a little bit not as low athletically, or, someone young in their career, maybe a little green, like when he caught Andre Fili. Those are the guys that he could have fun fights with. And those are guys I think they should match him up with. Keep matching him up with, maybe like next fight, give him a little confidence, match him up with a Mike Del Torre, someone like that, a borderline guy. He already fought Mike Del Torre, but just someone with limited athleticism, get him a, flashy finish, and then put him in there against another, up-and-comer, and see if he can stop him from moving into that top 15, or he can, get through Godofredo, and I think that's what Godofredo is, and, for what it's worth, Godofredo is a very fun fighter. But up next, we had Bobby Green against Eric Croak, and this was, the fight that kind of brought it back to life a little bit. It was a really fun fight, and, Bobby Green, man, really looked good. I thought that first round, he kind of started a little slow, and Croak was able to, initiate the clinch, take him down, go for the arm triangle, and go for the actually rear naked choke as well, and I was really surprised that Coke was able to get Green and hold him down. That was really a nice job by Eric Coke. But you could see after that, the round started from round 2, and Green was just putting heavy pressure on him, man. Green was digging to the body with his right hand, scoring with knees to the gut too, and some solid leg kicks as well. And Green was starting to slip on Coke's left hand and led his right, and he was talking to Coke a little bit to start that second round, and started marching him forward with his hands by his waist, and that was just awesome, man. He was marching him forward, hands down, completely like a cyborg, and just using great footwork. He made great head movement as well. Made Coke move with the whiff with the left hand, landed a straight right to the body, and was really putting that pressure on him, and stole the round at the end with that, and Bobby Green in the third round as well just landed a huge right hand and just started immediately forcing Coke backwards, putting him in the clinch, driving knees into his body, getting him some hard elbows. He really looked good in the dirty boxing here in this fight. He was able to, keep grinding him in that third round, and Coke actually hit a sweep, took top position, but Green was able to switch, got back on top, and, was in side control, controlled it for about 60 seconds, grinded away with some big shots, and, he was able to keep the top position. He won that round clearly, and Bobby Green won that fight 29-28, and I actually think Bobby Green's kind of starting to reestablish himself a little bit as a fun fighter to watch and as a intriguing prospect. He came back against Dustin Poirier and talking a lot of shit, was talking almost the whole entire fight, got clipped, dropped, knocked out cold. And that was just a terrible performance coming off a big layoff. But then came back again after a pretty significant layoff and fought Rashid Magomedov in a very close fight. I thought that could have gone either way. And then he fought his fight against Lando Venata where, it was a draw in which I thought he won the fight, man. So let's say Bobby Green could have potentially, a 2-fight win streak going here. And, against Rashid Magomedov, who's a top 15 guy, he had a very close decision with him. So Bobby Green's kind of cemented himself back up in that top 15 discussion. And I would love to see him get another, fun fight. He called out Justin Gaethje, called out Eddie Alvarez, which I don't think will happen. But, Justin Gaethje, who knows? Maybe that could be a fight he could get. Gaethje's coming off a loss. Bobby Green's coming in with some momentum. He's a fun fighter to watch. He's been putting on impressive performances, crowd-friendly performances. And who knows, man? That could be a fight that they could maybe target. But, for Eric Koch, that's 3 out of 4 losses for Koch. And, he did show much better performance than he did against Clay Guida. He was at least live in this fight. He threw some shots. But, Koch's starting to wind down in his career, man, in my opinion. That's 3 out of 4 losses. Maybe they'll give him one more chance to, right the wrong, get a win here. But who knows? Koch hasn't been the same, since he's came back from all those injuries. When he first came to the UFC, knocking out Assunção, beating Jonathan Brookings, knocking out Francisco Rivera in the WEC, that's when he was really on top, really fighting very well. But when you think about those names, Assunção, Francisco Rivera, Jonathan Brookings, Chad Mendez, he lost to Rick Lamas by TKO. Those are all small guys, man. Now he's fighting against some bigger guys as well. You got to put that into factor. But Koch, man, I don't know. Maybe they'll give him another chance. Maybe he'll have to go to Bellator or something like that. But up next, we had Drew Dober against Frank Camacho, and this was an awesome fight, man. For what it's worth, Frank Camacho is someone that comes and he brings the fucking action, dude. That guy is a fan favorite. 3 for 3, he has 3 fights, 3 performance of the nights, 3 fight of the nights. That's what you want to see, a guy that comes in and he brings it, man. And Frank Camacho does that, and that's why I think he's going to have his job in the company for a long time, man. But, Camacho and Dober went to war in this fight, but early on, Camacho, you could tell, was just stronger, because Dober was trying to, clinch up with him and take him down with a body lock, and you saw Camacho was able to reverse, land on top, and side control multiple times. But in that first round, he was able to do that, and he wasn't really able to do anything with the position. Dober was able to roll to his back and get back to his feet, and Camacho was actually landing pretty nice uppercuts, some shots into Dober's body, and Dober was landing that leg kick, and Dober landed a nice high kick as well, and that's when they really started to fight a little bit. Camacho started to land some left hands, Camacho ate an elbow, and they started to grapple off the cage again, and Camacho took him down again with that trip and was in Dober's half guard. He was looking for an arm triangle, and he won that round for sure. 2 takedowns, top control, and the stand-up was very close. So I gave that round to Frank Camacho, and I think anyone with the sane mind would give that round to Frank Camacho. But then again, a judge gave it 30-27 to Drew Dober, so who knows. But then that round 2, it was a fairly close round again. Camacho was able to stuff another shot by Drew Dober again, and landed a nice uppercut. And then Dober was, continuing to try to go for that takedown, and had to get out from a guillotine attempt from Camacho. And, he got swept to the bottom, so Frank was on top, and Dober was able to get right back to his feet. And Dober started to get kind of a little bit more aggressive with his combinations, and Camacho looked exhausted, man. He was tired as fuck. And he just had his back against the fence, and Dober was just sized him up, landed left hands, landed some big shots to the body as well. And Camacho, props to him, man. He was able to survive that little, flurry, able to get a second wind. And Dober was the one that was a little bit tired, and Camacho was the one that was walking forward with the volume and landed some jabs, landed some uppercuts, and landed a big hook, and he started to look like he was maybe getting hurt by Drew Dober's shots, but he started to bring that I don't give a fuck attitude back out of him, man, and started to just walk right through his punches, but landed some big shots on Dober as well, and Dober was starting to think like, oh fuck, like this guy's walking forward with pressure. And he knew that round 3 was going to be a war, man. But round 3, both guys came hard. They both landed some big hooks early. And Dober, once again, tried to go for a takedown. It looked like he maybe got a little bit hurt. And Camacho shut it down really quick, though. But Dober was actually being pretty aggressive, a little bit busier than Camacho early on. He was mixing it up more. Body kicks, more shots to the body with the punches, more leg kicks. And, he kept trying to go for that takedown, though, and Frank Camacho just wasn't having it. He was able to continue to freaking reverse it. He did it again in that third round. He reversed it, landed in half guard, started going for the arm triangle again on Dober. And Camacho started to land some knees, landed some body kicks, and Dober was able to get back up. And then Dober started landing some big right hands, landing a big left hand, and Camacho just kept walking forward, though, and Camacho was staying busy down that stretch, he was landing some big shots, landing some hard right hooks, and, I gave him that third round. I thought it was very close, but I gave him that third round, and therefore I gave him that fight. I could see that someone give the fight 29-28 Dober or 29-28 Camacho. But for someone to give the fight 30-27 Dober is just fucking terrible, man. That was horrible scorecard. But, for Drew Dober, that's now, he's putting on a pretty nice win streak. He's won 2 in a row, 3 out of 4 now. And, he's actually won 4 out of 5. And I don't know if he's going to stay up at 170. He's going to go back down to 155. But he did look like he was getting out-muscled by Frank Camacho here at 170. And Camacho's a 55er, so I do think that it would be very smart for him to move down to 155. He was saying in his show that he hopes this is one and done for 55. So I'm not sure who he'll fight now, but he definitely is on a little bit of a hot streak. But I don't think that he's someone that's going to be moving into the top 10, anything like that, like some people do. I'm not as high on Drew Dober. And then Frank Camacho, man, he stayed doing the same thing that he usually does. He comes and he brings a great fight. With Camacho, I think it's much less matters if he wins or loses, just because the type of fight that he brings, man, he comes, he brings it here to fight, shows it for the fans, and I think people respect that. And I think, he's always going to have a spot in the company for that, and always going to have people buying tickets to watch a fight because of that, and really have a lot of respect for Frank Camacho, the way he fights. But up next, we had a pretty big whitewash in Gregor Gillespie versus Jordan Rinaldi. Gillespie was able to, pressure him right away. And you could tell that Rinaldi was really uncomfortable with the pressure because he was starting to throw some really big, wild shots, big, heavy hooks. And, I think Gillespie was getting a little bit nervous because he was like, oh, damn, Rinaldi is throwing everything into these shots. So then he just decided, okay, I'm going to take him down. He took him down about 3 minutes in and stepped right into full mount and just started raining down punches, man, was raining down shots. He was starting to try to go for an arm triangle a little bit, but didn't really get the arm triangle. So then he just started to, rain down shots, and Gillespie was rolling from his back to his front, just trying to alleviate the pressure. And maybe Gillespie was really trying to set up that rear naked, but Rinaldi was active defending it, trying to, fight the hands, things like that. So Gillespie just started wearing him down, started throwing big shots, and eventually the ref ended in that first round, man, and Gillespie got that TKO finish, and Gillespie, man, that guy's a beast, dude. He has now 3-0 in the UFC, I think, or no, 4-0 in the UFC now, so that's someone that I definitely think should be getting a top 15 guy next. He's been finishing people, 3 consecutive finishes now, 4-time All-American wrestler. And really, dude, the way that he could transition from his striking to his grappling is a thing of beauty, man. It's absolutely elite. And he's someone that I think really could be a problem in this upper echelon. He's someone that I think is, a top 10 guy right now and could potentially be a title contender. He's that good. And but up next, we had Andre Fili against Dennis Bermudez, man, and I really didn't like this decision, man. I really didn't at all. But that first round, Bermudez was coming forward on Fili, bouncing, bobbing, and weaving, trying to close the distance, but he was still trying to, try to hide when he was going to come inside, make him a hard target to hit. And Bermudez was trying to go in for the takedowns, and he was actually getting stuffed. Fili's takedown game and grappling game was very impressive to me in this fight. But Fili's striking was just a little bit inactive. He was landing some nice jabs and stuff like that. But Bermudez was the one actually getting his jab going as well. And Bermudez was getting double underhooks, controlling Fili against the cage. Just making him work. He tried to do a lift takedown against Fili at the end of the round, and Fili was able to, not go down, separate, and Fili was actually the one able to get the takedown at the end of the round. Bermudez got back up in like half a second, though, man, and then Bermudez landed some nice low kicks, and he once again went into the clinch again, and that round was landing some nice, shots, and then at the end of the round, he landed some big low kicks, made Fili kind of stumble. And then Fili landed another takedown, and Bermudez got right back up, man. And I gave that round 10-9 to Bermudez. He dominated the striking in that round. And all Fili was able to do was get 2 takedowns, which Bermudez stood right back up. So I don't know how you could put that much credence into those takedowns. But round 2, Bermudez was timing, timing Fili's shots. He was able to slip Fili's uppercut, land a jab, land some leg kicks, drive Fili back, and was really trying to go for takedowns, but wasn't able to get him, But then Fili started kind of, trying to take him down. He actually got a takedown again, and Bermudez was able to get right back up though, and Fili was able to get his takedowns, but like I said, Bermudez was getting right back up. Fili was doing no damage with those takedowns. And then Bermudez got Fili right back in that clinch, and was able to slam Fili with the high crotch, but Fili actually kept his balance. A really nice thing that he did there. And then Fili was starting to slug a little bit. They started to get a little bit into a brawl. And, Fili was able to land some shots against the cage, but then he got pushed back against the cage with the underhooks, and Fili was able to get hit with a couple of knees from the tie clinch, got hit with the knee to the head as well, and Bermudez was looking good, man, and Bermudez landed a leg kick, and then Fili actually caught a leg kick, took Bermudez down, and Bermudez got right back up again and was pushing Fili against the cage, and hit him with the overhand right, and I thought he won that round again, man. I would give that second round to Dennis Bermudez. And third round, Fili was trying to land his jab and trying to land that low kick and was moving backwards a lot. So maybe Fili thought that he had the first 2 rounds won or something, but he was stepping real gingerly on that leg. So I think that leg was hurt as well for Fili. But he was able to get another takedown again, but couldn't keep him down, and Bermudez was able to once again get the double underhooks, put him against the cage, and land those knees, and I think he actually landed a knee to the cup at that point, so they had to stop that fight. And they started the action. Bermudez came hard. Bermudez was the one pushing in that third round, landed a hard inside leg kick, left hand, and he was really making Feely move backwards. I thought he was breaking Feely, man, because Feely was getting a little bit tired. And he was able to land his jab, able to get in with hooks, hitting him to the body, pushing Feely against the cage. And, at the end of the fight, he was able to get a double leg, and he went for a armbar and almost had the armbar at the end of the fight, but Feely got out. And that was a clear round for Bermudez. And I had that fight 30-27 for Bermudez, man, and they gave that fight to Andre Feely, which I don't know. I thought that was ridiculous. I thought that was a terrible decision, just like the Justine Kish decision. And I thought the judging on this card was the worst judging that I've seen in a long time, man. But we're going to move on to the main event, and it was Jacare Souza against Derek Brunson. And, I thought Derek Brunson was a little bit improved, man, and I guess he isn't. He came in with that same wild style. He was reaching on a lot of his shots, and he was able to hit Brunson or hit Jacare, and stun him a little bit, get him stuck against the cage and flurry on him, and that's what Brunson's going to do against everyone, man. He's going to always be able to touch people because how aggressive he is, how he wanes forward. But I think that it's been proven now that if it's a dangerous guy that could take him out as well, and or someone that's just going to push him, maybe like Anderson Silva, even though he won that fight pretty easily. But I think that once he realizes he can't get you out in those first couple minutes, he does start to gas and he starts to panic a little bit because he's like, oh damn, if these flurries aren't working, I'm going to really have to go into ultra drive and take him out with a big flurry. And I think that's what he does, and he gets a little bit too preoccupied with going for the finish, man. And, Jacare was just cool, calm, and collective, was making him whiff after he started to, after he got over that initial where Brunson was chasing him around the cage and landed some shots and landed some straight punches, landed some uppercuts. And I think Jacare started to get into a rhythm after that. He started to get his feet under him and, started to kind of make Brunson come to him more and more. And Brunson was starting to charge. He started to land a kick to the body and an uppercut and completely missed and got clipped with a counter right hook. And that's when I started to tell myself, oh man, Jacare is starting to get that timing a little bit. And, it started to get a little bit tense. Brunson stopped trying to rush it a lot. And, then he tried to rush it and get a takedown. And, I was like, oh wow. But then Brunson took him down, or Souza got a takedown on Brunson. And Brunson got right back up, though. But Brunson connected with a nice pair of punches. And he actually has that nice charge, but he got hit with another one of those counter rights. And you could just see that Jacare was just timing that counter right hand. He would have had it all night if he wouldn't have landed this. But then right after that, landed a huge right high kick, man. And just put Brunson's lights out. You could tell Brunson was just out of it, man. Fuck, man. Who was Jacare walking at him like that when he walked out with his hands down like a Terminator? How scary was that? I mean, see that fucking freak walking to you like that? That guy's coming in to fucking murder your ass. Kept down, landed some big shots, and, he just wasn't in any position to defend. He didn't know where he was, and Jacare took him out, man, and he's not done yet. I mean, for sure. I was thinking maybe Jacare was done, but nah, man, that guy's not done yet. And please give us Jacare versus Chris Weidman, please. I really want to watch that. That's going to be absolutely incredible, man, and that's the fight to make. I would love to see that. Oh my God, Jacare versus Chris Weidman, man. I would love it. I would really love it. And then, to be honest, I think that a good matchup for Derek Brunson would be Eric Anders. If Eric Anders can win on next Saturday against Lyoto Machida, he's someone that's up and coming. And, Derek Brunson's in that top 10, has a name already. And they kind of have that same type of style, except Eric Anders, I think, is a little more composed. But they have that same kind of style where they're both finishers, both big power punchers, both athletes, both very explosive, and both go for the knockouts. I think that would be an awesome fight. Eric Anders against Derek Brunson and Jacare against Chris Weidman. And for This card, I would give it a C minus, but I think that this next card coming up is much better. And be on the lookout for my predictions tomorrow. I'm going to be doing another prediction video. And let me know what you thought about my last prediction video, what you thought about, this recap video. And, so far on the year, we went 11-1 on one card, and then these last two cards we went 8-4 and 7-4. So we're doing, pretty solid so far to start the year, and we're gonna look to keep it going. We're gonna look to bounce back, win our parlay of the week next week. I'm gonna try to give you guys more, guaranteed winners this week. I kind of varied off that path, tried to give you guys a winner that would, cash out with a solid return, which was pretty close, but we couldn't hit it there, even though I thought Barella won. But next week I'll go back to trying to give you guys a for sure winner, and that my most confident pick I think will almost usually always be a pretty surefire bet as well. So that's something to look forward to. And like I said, subscribe for more. I'm going to be continuing to do these for you guys, and hope you guys liked it.